Angela Levin is a drunk old hag, clinging on to the last scraps of relevance by vomiting out hate for Meghan, Duchess of Sussex. She calls herself a royal expert, but her expertise is nothing more than slurring out secondhand gossip, while drinking a glass of boxed wine and sweating on the desk beside her. She looks like she's been pickled in gin. Bloated, sour, eyes glazed, and yet we're supposed to take her reporting seriously? She's a walking cautionary tale. This is what happens when your entire life is built on lies and booze. Her books, worthless. Her commentary, sloppy, drunken drivel. She latches onto Camilla like a desperate leech, while spitting out venom against Meghan, because Meghan represents everything she can't be. Successful, admired, beautiful, young, and globally relevant. Angela is jealous to her core, and it seeps out of every crooked smile and every slurred rant. No one, and I mean no one in serious journalism, respects her. She's a tabloid carcass, a sloppy drunk wheeled out whenever a producer needs to bash Meghan. Without Harry and Meghan, she's nothing. Just another bitter has-been, drinking herself to sleep. Angela Levin is not credible. She's not respected. She's a sloppy, bitter, drunk fraud. And the only thing keeping her name alive is Meghan, Duchess of Sussex. Without Meghan, Angela would be slumped over on the bar at a pub.
Welcome back, everyone. Today's subject of discussion is Angela Levin, often referred to as a royal expert. But is she really an expert or just a gossip monger capitalising on the lives of the Sussexes? Angela Levin, a name that's become synonymous with unfounded speculation and biased commentary, has carved out a niche for herself in the tabloid world. With a career built on dissecting every move of Meghan and Harry, she's painted herself as an authority on royal affairs. However, it's worth noting that her so-called expertise hinges heavily on the Sussexes using their names to fuel her narrative and stay in the limelight. Is this what constitutes a royal expert? Or is this just another case of someone leveraging the public's fascination with the royal family for personal gain? But today, we're going to delve deeper, unmasking the true Angela Levin. Angela Levin's relevance is tethered to Meghan and Harry. Indeed, it's no secret that Levin's commentary is profoundly enmeshed in the lives of the Sussexes. Her career, built on a shaky foundation of gossip and conjecture, seems to orbit around Meghan and Harry like a moth drawn to a flame. Her incessant chatter, her constant critiques, her relentless dissection of the Sussexes' every move, these are the elements that have propelled her into the limelight. Levin's dependence on the Sussexes is both fascinating and somewhat tragic. The irony is not lost on us. A woman who has made a career out of criticising Meghan and Harry, yet without them, she would be just another voice in the crowd, barely heard, barely noticed. The Sussexes, whether they like it or not, have become her crutch, her ladder to fame, her meal ticket. Every statement, every interview, every tweet from Levin seems to be about the Sussexes. It's as if her world revolves around them, and without them, her world would cease to exist. It's quite perplexing, really. One might even say it's a classic case of biting the hand that feeds you. But what happens when that hand is pulled away? What happens when the Sussexes decide to step back, to live their lives away from the glare of the public eye? What happens to Levin then? Would she still be the royal expert she claims to be? Or would she fade into oblivion, a forgotten voice in the cacophony of royal commentary? Without Meghan and Harry, Levin's relevance diminishes. Her voice, once amplified by her relentless critique of the Sussexes, would become just another whisper in the wind. She would no longer be the centre of attention, the go-to person for all things Sussex. Without the Sussexes, Levin's voice would be lost in the crowd. And so, we see that Angela Levin, the so-called royal expert, is nothing more than a parasite, feeding off the fame and popularity of Meghan and Harry. Without them, she is simply Angela Levin, a woman desperately clinging to relevance in a world that has moved on. Levin's career is built on negativity. This statement isn't just an opinion, it's a fact that can be traced through her numerous public appearances and writings. She's become infamous for her harsh and often unkind words towards Meghan and Harry, the Duke and Duchess of Sussex. Let's delve into some of the instances that highlight her bias and negativity. There was a time when Levin took a low jab at Meghan, claiming that she was manipulating Harry into becoming a grumpy and distanced royal. She didn't hesitate to paint a negative picture, ignoring the fact that people change and evolve, especially when they step into new roles and responsibilities, such as marriage and parenthood. Levin didn't stop there. She also accused Meghan of being a self-obsessed social climber who was using Harry to boost her own popularity and status. These baseless accusations not only reek of bias, but also of a complete disregard for the personal growth and happiness of the individuals involved. Now, let's not forget when Levin took it upon herself to critique Meghan's guest editing stint for British Vogue. She was quick to label it as a vanity project, completely overlooking the magazine's focus on trailblazing women and important social issues. It seems Levin was more interested in generating controversy than recognizing the positive impact of Meghan's work. Perhaps one of the most glaring examples of Levin's negativity was her constant criticism of Harry and Meghan's decision to step back from their royal duties. She wasted no time in painting them as traitors, disregarding their personal reasons and their quest for a more peaceful life. All these instances point in one direction: Levin's bias and negativity. They expose her for what she really is, a commentator who thrives on negativity and bias, rather than presenting a balanced, fair viewpoint. Levin's bias and negativity reveal her lack of credibility. Her words should be taken with a grain of salt, as they are often tainted with personal bias and negativity, rather than being based on facts or fair judgment. Recently, Angela Levin met her match in Notorious JTB. Now, for those of you who may not be familiar, Notorious JTB is a figure known for his relentless and often harsh criticism of Meghan, Duchess of Sussex. He's built quite a reputation for his unflinching commentary and sharp observations. But in a surprising twist of events, he turned his critical lens on Angela Levin, a move that left many quite astonished. In an unexpected turn, Notorious JTB began dissecting Levin's comments, her biases, and her relentless negativity towards the Sussexes. He picked apart her statements, her sources, and even her demeanour, revealing a shocking lack of substance and depth. It was as if he was holding up a mirror, forcing Levin to confront the emptiness of her own commentary. The effect was staggering. Levin, usually so quick to toss out criticisms, found herself under the magnifying glass. Suddenly the harsh light of scrutiny was on her, revealing a landscape that was all too often littered with baseless claims and unfounded assumptions. In the face of this relentless analysis, Levin's usual bravado seemed to falter. No longer was she the one casting stones, but rather she was the one scrambling to dodge them. The tables had turned in a way few could have anticipated, and the results were nothing short of enlightening. And so, the notorious critic of Meghan became the critic of Levin, exposing her for what she truly is, a commentator who thrives on negativity and bias, rather than fact and balanced analysis. The shift was a stark reminder of the power of perspective and the importance of holding even the self-proclaimed experts to account. This rare moment of exposure revealed the hollowness of Levin's commentary. It showed us that beneath the confident exterior and the bold claims, there was a glaring absence of substance. It was a potent reminder that not all that glitters is gold, and that even the loudest voices can echo with emptiness. Angela Levin's credibility has been built on tearing others down. This is a rather sombre truth, an unsettling revelation that we've arrived at. Angela Levin, a figure who's frequently hailed as a royal expert, is, in actuality, nothing more than a gossip monger. Her expertise, if we can call it that, lies not in her understanding of royal affairs, but in her ability to downplay, to criticise, and to tear down the Sussexes, Prince Harry and Meghan. The irony here is that Angela Levin's relevance itself hinges on the very lives she seeks to critique. Without the Sussexes, without the constant fodder they provide for her, Levin's voice, it seems, would fade into oblivion. She has become a parasite, feeding off the fame and the controversies of the Sussexes to maintain her own relevance. It's a survival tactic, yes, but one that is devoid of any real credibility. But the universe has a peculiar way of balancing things out. And in the case of Angela Levin, this came in the form of Notorious JTB. Known for his ruthless takedowns, Notorious JTB, quite unexpectedly, turned his attention to Levin. The results were predictably brutal, but they served an important purpose. They exposed Levin's hollowness, her desperation, and most importantly, her lack of credibility. Now, this isn't to say that criticism is inherently bad. Criticism, when backed by facts, can be a powerful tool. But Levin's criticism isn't rooted in facts, it's rooted in prejudice, in bias, and in an insatiable need to stay relevant. This isn't criticism, it's character assassination. And when it's built on such shaky grounds, it's bound to crumble eventually. The exposure by Notorious JTB was just the first crack in the wall. It was a moment of reckoning, a moment that showed the world the true face of Angela Levin. And it was a moment that questioned the very credibility of Levin as a royal expert. After all, how can someone who relies so heavily on the Sussexes for her own relevance be considered an expert in their lives? In the end, Angela Levin's credibility, or the lack thereof, is a reflection of her approach. Her relentless negativity, her blatant bias, and her dependence on the Sussexes for relevance have all contributed to her downfall. And while she has spent a significant part of her career tearing others down, it's clear that her own credibility is now in tatters. This time, the so-called royal expert got a taste of her own medicine. And it's a bitter pill to swallow, but perhaps it's a necessary one. A wake-up call for Levin to re-evaluate her methods, to rely on facts rather than gossip, and to build her credibility on something more substantial than tearing others down.